Hey there, welcome into the Ben Maynard program. Thanks for being here. Before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping to take care of. A reminder to everyone, the podcast is available on multiple outlets like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, among others. Or you can just simply search the Ben Maynard program. You'll have several options to choose from. Just choose your option. Also, or in addition to that, if you absolutely cannot resist this right here, then you can always watch this show on YouTube. And if you do watch on YouTube, I ask that you please subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment. Last but not least, follow me on Instagram, simply Ben Maynard Program. So there are plenty of ways to take in this show for your dancing and listening pleasure. Let me start by recapping the latest episode. Just posted. It's the Journey Studio Albums Ranked. There's 16 of them. It's with my buddy Spaz, and we had an absolute blast. Some of you are going to be okay with it. Some of you I'm going to make really angry. I think more of you out in the audience are going to agree with Spaz's list than mine. But we'll see. Watch the show, listen to it, whatever it is, but certainly comment on it. And if you do watch it on YouTube and you leave a comment, leave your list. That's what makes this stuff fun. So with that, as you can see, sitting across the table from me is my good friend, Ed Sanchez. But as he's known to me, and he always will be, he's Eddie. Thanks for being here, Eddie.
Thanks for having me, Ben. Thanks for having me, brother.
No, I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you taking the time. This is something we talked about a little bit, and I thought this would be a good. This is going to make for some really good conversation. Yeah, let's put it that way. It really is. I mean, not only because you and I can talk, but the stuff that we're going to talk and we're going to discuss is I think it's important. It's important for I think it's important for you to get the message out, but it's important for other people to hear the message. Right. And the whole idea of this program is for people to tell their story. Mm-hmm. I mean, so you have a great one, and I want to get it out to the audience. I want to get it out to all the listeners out here. So what I want to do to start with is I wanted to kind of bring the audience in and discuss the nature of our association or our relationship and where that started. And Eddie and I go back to junior high school.
Long ways, long time ago.
A long time ago. Dexter Junior High, right?
That's right.
That's right.
Hornets for life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Eddie's got two brothers. David's the oldest. He's 2 years, 1 or 2 years older.
2 years.
2 years. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. And then Hav is he's 3 years younger than you, so he's 2 years younger than I am. So so that's where we started, and not that it wasn't necessarily where the way I described it to Eddie earlier, was our hangout friendship began. That started many years later, but where it began was my brother-in-law lives 2 doors down from Eddie, and for years, I think it was Memorial Day weekend, I think it was, wasn't it? When we would have barbecues in the front yard, and
full-on barbecues, full-on volleyball games,
yep.
Full-on. A lot of full-on was going on back then.
A lot of full-on, that's sure. Right.
We'd be a whole weekend.
Yeah. I mean, we, volleyball tournaments and lots of food, and that was when Matt was living between
Matt
the
Westrup,
two.
Absolutely, the Westrups lived in between.
Yeah,
it was 3 yards full of family, full of fun, and full of love.
Yeah, full of good times. So that's kind of where it began for us, where we really started to kind of get to know one another, and we've been friends sense. But I wanted to ask you, and it actually just came to mind right now. I remember one time, 'cause for those who don't know, and I don't expect any of you to, um, Eddie's mother, I, she used to have her own childcare business. She watched everyone's kids.
You're talking to everybody.
Yeah, when I say everybody, that really means
Yeah.
everybody. But what was the nature of um Artamia Manessa?
Wow, that goes back.
It goes back a long ways.
First of all, the Manessa family is very well known in the Whittier area. We got Robert Manessa,
Mhm.
the young lady you just spoke about.
Yeah.
She had her child with my mom and my dad's godson.
Okay.
So, in the long run, we found out that Robert was associated with that individual, and I can't say the name. My voice is a little soft, so I'm not going to even try to pronounce the name. But that's how that came about. She basically was, in our Hispanic culture, family.
Right.
The father of the baby is my mom and dad's godson.
Okay.
Yeah, and his name was Michael.
And are they still together?
No, I don't think that they are.
Okay.
I know that for a fact, but
Okay.
yeah, but still family.
Right.
Yeah.
No, well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But I remember seeing her at the house one time, and what is the nature of this,
Yeah, there's a lot of people that would stop by. Tons of people would stop
yeah.
by.
I know.
Past, present, and future would stop by.
Right. Okay. All right. It just popped into my head, and I thought, you know what? I've never asked that.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm gonna.
Good
Eddie's
question.
right here.
Good
He's
Yeah.
I got him trapped right here in studio, so I'm gonna hit him with that one. So let's fast forward, because I don't want to fast forward too much, but going back to high school days, you were a fairly big man on campus. You were involved in a ton of stuff. I'm gonna embarrass him a little bit.
Yeah, that right there is good stuff and bad stuff.
I didn't even have it in my notes. I'm hitting with it right now. But you were like a big thing on campus. Eddie was, my gosh. I mean, he was an athlete, of course. Primary sport was football, big time there. And, but, like to associate with the ladies. So what you got involved in, like the ensemble or the choir or whatever it was?
Well, the best thing about choir and ensemble was during football season, the ensemble and choir would take a trip up to Northern California at the beginning of Hell Week. So if you were part of the singing group, you might miss out on 1 or 2 days of Hell Week. So that was a good thing. Plus, who wouldn't want to be in a ratio of like 3-to-1 females to males and be traveling on the Greyhound bus having the time of your life as a kid? So that was that about.
When you're 16, 17, 18 years old, yes, and your hormones are raging.
Exactly.
Yeah, we open. Yeah, oh gosh, darn it! I didn't even think about it.
Yeah,
I have. Nope, I have them out. I have them outside the studio. I have the high school, our high school annuals outside. I should have got them. Eddie's just about on every other page. There's a picture of Eddie in high school annual. It's good
not
stuff.
sure about that, but I'm not too sure about that. But thank you. Yeah, that's a good one there.
And the thing is you and Hav, which is Eddie and David's younger brother, you and Hav were more of the socialites between amongst the three Sanchez brothers. So when Eddie graduated, Eddie's class of 82 and I'm class of 83, Hav's class of 85. So when you graduated, Hav just like took your place. Yeah, he took your place, filling that role of a Sanchez brother. So I just thought of this as I'm hitting record, and I thought, well, I'm gonna bring this up.
That's it right there for sure. Yeah.
but so much so, and look, the one thing is, I know when it comes to the Sanchez brothers, it's like this. And for those who can see, I mean, I'm locking my fingers together. These guys are intertwined, and it's an unbreakable bond. So much so that you guys went into business with each other. I mean, together. You had your own business at one time.
Yeah, back in the day, probably about 1984, I was playing football, turkey bowl, as a matter of fact, and I had a bad knee injury. And it took me 2 years to get back on my feet from that knee injury. Right off the bat, when I needed to maybe concentrate on school, college, I needed to get a job because I had some bills to pay. So I went into sales. I sold for some insurance for this company called Combined Insurance Company of America out of Chicago, Illinois. W. Clement Stone. If you all know about it, you know about it. And one of the first places that I sold insurance to was a mortgage company. And the guy at the mortgage company was so happy to see me and how we developed our relationship and how I was able to get from the front door to the back door, get everybody to buy his little small policy of like $40, get the company to do a company payroll deduction for him. He gave me a job. He gave me a job, an opportunity in the mortgage business. So I got my feet wet in the mortgage business. And pretty much I've never punched a clock all my life. I'm 60 years old now, and I don't know what it would be to say make X number of dollars per hour as opposed to just do some selling. So fast forward a little bit, when I got into it, my brother Hav was in retail. So one day he was bummed out, and I said, look, man, if I could do this, anybody can do this. So I'm more of the talker. Hav's more of the back end with the numbers. Gave him 2 weeks of a crash course on mortgages, very simple stuff. And he got a job, and he's been in mortgages ever since. Then we decided we were going to open up our own shop, and we were in Brea, Tri-County Mortgage, back in the good days where you could actually do things. So yeah, we had a business with my brother Javier, our cousin Conrad. We had an office down here in Brea. We also had an office in I'm going to say somewhere in Northern California. I can't remember. Richmond comes to mind, but I know that's not it. And you have to bear with me because I'm a little cloudy. Can we talk about that?
We'll get to that. We'll get to why Eddie can be foggy at times.
Okay, perfect.
and it's perfect. It's okay. Yeah. But and you guys did have a good mortgage business going. If
I'm not mistaken, didn't we write some business for you?
Well, that's what I was getting to. And Eddie is the talker, and Hav is the numbers guy. Both Hav and Eddie, they did some business for me twice. They twice did some refinancing and that type of stuff, writing mortgages for me back in the day when it was good.
Exactly.
Right. So I know because I went through Eddie. Eddie talks it up. We get the deal. And then, of course, it's like puts out a call to Hav, and then Hav comes walking in the office, and Hav has to look at all the numbers, and then Hav has to sign off on it.
That's pretty much what it is.
That's exactly how it went.
Yeah, I'm the dog and pony show. He's the closer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He says, nope, yep, we're going to make it happen, or nope, go back and fix it.
Exactly.
So, but that kind of came to an end back when, I don't know, 15 years ago when everything just went
south.
Yeah, it went south, and it went south fast.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it hurt a lot of people. It hurt a lot of independent mortgage businesses too. Did. I mean, obviously you guys, but to what you said, Hav's still in the mortgage business. He's still doing it to this day.
This guy, if you walk into a store and you're shopping and it says 33% off, you pick up the label, he'll give you that, and then he'll ask if you want the tax to be added. He's Rain Man when it comes to numbers. Totally.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to get down to it here. Oh, no, we're not getting down to it yet. Because listen, I have, for all the ladies out there, I have a guy for you right here. Okay. I have a guy. You just have to leave a comment. You can leave your email address, your phone number, whatever. Or you might know Eddie personally. So come on, women. Let's go. Eddie has never been married. And I've never asked him why. And I'm here today asking Eddie, why has he never been married?
Okay, so with that never been married quote also want to put out there, I don't have any kids either. So it's single like a Pringle.
So you're not the father of our country at all.
Nowhere close.
Okay.
I guess I probably had some opportunity
Sure.
to be married.
Right.
Never pulled the trigger. But at the end of the day, certain things that I was brought up with, such as family first, you know, my dad passed away of cancer when he was 50. I was a little bit on the crazy side of life. And when he passed away, he said to me personally, he says, I want to ask one thing from you. First of all, grow up. Second of all, take care of my wife. I said, that means take care of my mom? My dad said, no. I said, my wife. So that was what he left for me and my brothers to take care of. And if anybody knows us, then they know that we take care of our mom.
Yes.
And that's the way I believe it should be, the old-fashioned way, such as they took care of us when we were young, and we're all getting older. So at the end of the day, we're going to want somebody to take care of us as we get there as well. So for her, we try, and it's easy. It's not even a try. It's a pleasure. It's a blessing to take and watch her every day.
Yes.
So with that said, I can't say why I've never been married, except that, there's other things for me, such as my mom, my brothers, my family, go back as far as talking about the relationship with Vito 2 doors down.
Right.
And he's like a father figure to us.
Yeah.
Him and my dad were best of friends. If one was in trouble, the other one would be right behind. If not, they would both get in trouble together. That's a whole different show and a whole different story. But I don't know. Really. I've been blessed. I've met some very, very nice, wonderful people, ladies.
Yes.
They're still in my life. One thing about that I learned from my dad a long time ago. High school, going back there, I dated the same girl for 6 years. And she came up one day and she said, we're not going to date no more. She was 2 years older than me. And my dad said, from this point forward, this is still your house. You never have a place to go. You come here.
Right.
You need your car looked at. Come here. I'll take care of it. And that's what I've learned. It's not so much that it's a bitter breakup. It's more of your family. If you've been in my house once and you've, had a bean burrito with us or whatever else you're going to eat, you're going to be good. Your family. The house is always open. And truth be told, the lock's never changed in over 40 years. So, and we still have a landline. So we're accessible.
Yeah. Still in the phone book. Whatever a phone book is, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But I can attest to that. Family is very important to the Sanchezes. It's first and foremost.
Yeah.
And not only is it that that bond between three brothers, but you also have a nephew that is almost has three dads.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's not a dad and two uncles.
All right.
It's almost three dads. The way that you and Hav have embraced David and just taken him in and raised him as your own as well. So of course. Family is
Well, growing up, I had 8 uncles and 2 aunts, and and we're from New Mexico, so whenever we would go back to New Mexico, if I spend the night with one uncle, it was like he was my dad.
Right.
I mean, it was just, you never felt there was a separation. So with that, that's again, the way we were raised is you love somebody unconditionally. Not everybody's going to make you happy. Not everybody's going to surprise you, but be sure to know that they might let you down here and there. And I've been part of that let down on my side for people. And no one's ever not stopped giving, caring for me. It's like, you know what? He'll get it. He'll get it right one day.
And I don't think it's a cultural thing. I think it's a generational thing.
Oh, without
where
a doubt.
you and you and I are obviously the same generation. We came up together, and like you were saying, if you were staying with other family, if you were staying at an uncle's house, it was like he was your dad while you were there. And that was a generational thing for us. You stayed at a friend's house, you did what their parents said.
Exactly.
And I know from my side of it that they had, excuse me, they had a permission to take it to me if I needed it,
Absolutely.
if I got out of line.
Absolutely.
And that was just one, that was the thing that, you know, parents, hey, they just, here, my kid gets out of line, man, put it on him.
Yeah.
Don't put up
Yeah.
with it. You don't even have to call me. You have permission.
Exactly.
Almost like when we were going to school and we had to take the form home that our parents signed. Yes, they gladly signed. Yes, you have permission to paddle my son.
Exactly. Exactly. When that was allowed.
When it was allowed, and when I think times were much better.
Well, yeah, I think so too. But that's
Yeah.
just our opinion. Talk to these new kids, and they're going to come up with a million different other opinions on why it's not the best way.
Yeah, of course.
But
So, all right. So, all right, we're going to get down to it now. Eddie's here to talk about his journey the last, what is it? We're going on 3 years, aren't we?
20 months.
Oh, 20. So we're going on 2 full years.
Yeah.
2 full years. Eddie's been dealing with cancer. He's been in this battle with cancer, as he said, 20 months. So we're coming up on 2 years. And I want him to tell that story. I want him to share his journey with everyone. And as he's sharing, I'll try to interject where I can and ask the questions that I'm hoping are necessary to ask. But what I want to do is, and it started with tongue cancer. Am I right?
At base of the tongue, correct.
Right. Now, Eddie is, not that he can anymore, but Eddie's a cigar lover, cigar aficionado. And obviously with dealing with tongue cancer, he's not going to be able to partake in cigars any longer. So I'll start first here, and then I'll back up a minute. Do you think that cigars had anything to do with your tongue cancer at all?
100% absolutely not.
Okay, great. Is it because of the type of cancer?
It's the type of cancer
Okay.
that I have.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. And so we can get into that moving forward.
Okay.
So then let me start right here. How was it that, what was going on, I should say, what was going on with you that didn't feel right, that gave you the indication, hey, I should go see the doctor. Something's up, something's not right, and let's
Yeah.
go see what's going on.
Yeah.
Take it from there.
In 2021, probably the beginning of the year, I felt like I had gone swimming, and in my left ear, I felt like there was water in it. So, you think that maybe that's what happened. So you're dealing with it. It's not in a something that's driving you crazy, but it's back there.
Yeah.
And every time I'd go to sleep, lay down on the right side, it would feel like that water would move. Went to see the doctor sometime in maybe February or March, early part of the year. And he had said, we have high allergies this time of the season. It's probably that. Okay. Let's go ahead and give you some nasal spray, take care of it, go forth. So we move forward. Towards the end of the year of 2021, it's still going on, and it's time for me to go back to see the doctor. Came up with the same thing. And he said, I think it's allergies. That's all it is. Let's go to give you some more nasal spray. Keep up the routine. You should be fine. Again, it wasn't nothing that was devastating. It was just there. It was just kind of lingering. Didn't make any discomfort. Didn't draw any more attention unless if I was laying down. If I'm standing up, it was fine. Laying down was when it bothered me the most or brought it to attention. In 2022, in February, let me back that up, January, I got up to go to work. My left side here looked like there was a softball. And as I was shaving going to work, I hit it and it bounced up and I nicked my eyebrow. I'm like, okay, I'm awake or asleep.
Right.
So I went back, I looked in the mirror, and here's a softball. Well, I freaked out and I went straight to the doctor right from there.
Right.
And I said, look, I got this in my neck. All my doctor's very, very close, blocks away from my house. So he did see me and kind of freaked me out a little bit because he went to the nurse and said, "Hey, I'm going to be with Ed for about 45 minutes to an hour." But he didn't have an appointment. He goes, "No, I'll be with Ed for 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
He needs some help here."
Okay.
So he took the time, went over a few things, and when he said we were going to do a biopsy, the first thing I said, "Well, why are we doing a biopsy?"
Okay.
And making a joke of it, I said, "Do you think it's cancer?" And he goes, "Yeah, I think it is." And I said, "Okay." Kind of sat in on me. My dad died of cancer at 50. He had prostate cancer. When my dad found out that he had prostate cancer and he was already diagnosed with it, done, you have it. This was 37 years ago.
Right.
So maybe even longer. But anyways, I remember the question he asked the doctor. He's like, "Is this something I'm going to die from?" Doctor says, "Well, there is no light at the end of the tunnel." So my dad was, "Well, let's go to lunch." If that's the answer, that's the answer.
Okay.
So when I asked him that question, because I remember.
You remembered that, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? You remembered that from your dad, so you asked it.
Exactly. So I asked that question to my primary care physician, and he said, "I can't answer that question, but I'm going to send you to an oncologist."
Okay.
So here I go from my primary care to the oncologist, and the oncologist is young man, Dr. Merrill Shum, good guy. He actually took care of my mom when she had breast cancer, stage 0. There was nothing there, but we met him then. Just good all-around guy. Got good bedside manners, came out. So when I meet him, he's like, "No, I think you're going to have cancer, and I think it's going to be this certain type of cancer." So it's called HP virus 16.
That's HPV.
HPV.
Okay. Okay.
Historically, for men, it hits us in our throat area, tongue.
Right.
For women, it hits in the cervical area.
Mm-hmm.
So that's there. And it only happens to our age group. It's like having the shingle virus. How do we get the shingle virus? It comes from chickenpox. Once you get the chickenpox, you have the shingles in you.
Mm-hmm.
So this, if it flourishes, then it comes about. It comes like it hit me. If it doesn't, you still have it. It might come out or it might not. It's just the virus that we have.
Okay.
They have now come up with inoculation for kids younger than us.
Right.
A lot younger than us, that they get it when they're babies. And in between that crowd of generation, there's a HP virus. You see it on TV all the time. Come and get your inoculation
for your teenagers.
If you don't want it. Now, I strongly suggest do what you want, but when I asked the doctor if there was a light at the end of the tunnel, my oncologist, he said, "No, but you're probably going to wish there was, because you are going to go through something that I'm not going to be able to explain. You're going to lose the ability to swallow.
Right.
You're going to lose the ability to taste. And you might even lose the ability to speak." So with those 3 things, I'm like, well, how hard is that? I mean,
that's it, doc?
Let's just go ahead and fight this thing. And the one thing that the doctor said, every day, you're waking up and you're fighting cancer. If you have that in your head, then you know what it is. Ben knows this about me. Out of my 3 brothers, I'm probably like the most mindset aggression type individual who is like, if I can go through 1 wall, I can go through 2 walls.
Yeah.
If I can go to 2 walls, like 3 walls. So I was like, let's just go. Let's get this done. So immediately we started with treatment in February. I had chemotherapy and radiation. And as the chemotherapy was going through, it never really did too much for me. It actually gave me energy. I'd feel like going home and cutting the grass. Radiation, I had, if I'm not mistaken, 32 radiations. So is it a matter of Monday through Friday, weekends off? And they said, "Hey, sooner or later, your neck is going to turn black." I said, that's not going to happen.
The skin?
The skin.
Okay.
Because basically the radiation goes from the inside out and it spreads out. So if we're going to get the bad cells, we're going to damage good cells and everything around it.
Okay.
And week 4 or 5, he said you're going to have problems swallowing. Now, the funny thing is once you get something like that, whether it's a new car or something, other people will come up and say, "Hey, I got the same thing." So I met a gentleman through a friend of mine who actually went through the same thing. And he said, "Ed, what you want to do is get a feeding tube put in immediately. Number 1. Number 2, get yourself a suction machine like they do at the dentist, because you're going to have issues with your mouth." And I said, "You know what? I'll go along with what he said. So I went back, talked to the doctor. Can I get a feeding tube? He says, do you want to wait? I said, no, I don't want to wait. So I got the feeding tube. And sure enough, as the weeks went on, I'm really realizing what kind of challenge that I'm having. Couldn't swallow.
I remember that. I remember you had a really hard time swallowing. And I remember when you did have the feeding tube. Yes. I mean, yeah.
So I went through that. And when I finally hit to where my throat shut down for about 2.5 weeks, it was like shards of needles and shards of glass in my throat just to breathe air. I would lay in my bed, and thank God it wasn't the summer, so the air conditioner wasn't on. I think that would have been worse, but it was in the beginning of the year. So just while laying in bed and breathing air through my nose, the pain that I had was not pain. It was just the most discomforting feeling I've ever had, such as having 100 needles in your throat and shards of glass. And it was terrible. But as soon as you hit rock bottom in anything, you start coming back up. So at one time I was like, I just can't deal with this no more.
Okay, hold on for a second. So at this point, when you had the feeding tube inserted and like you described, just trying to breathe through your nose and have oxygen come through your throat into your lungs, 100 needles, and all that pain. How far into this process from diagnosis and the beginning of your treatment, how far along were we into it at this point?
2.5 months.
So only 2.5 months.
Yeah.
So you started with the aggressive treatment like right away.
Yeah.
And then we're dealing with it. So we're 2.5 months into this now. So we started in January, right?
Yeah.
And now we're about end of March, maybe beginning of April, somewhere right in that area at 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So when that started getting better, then it was just having the chemotherapy and radiation.
Yeah.
Now I had to go, and of course we've talked about our brotherly love for each other, Ben included. I had to learn how to swallow again.
Yeah.
And that was a treatment that was different. Easy to say, harder to do. If you can't swallow, it's very challenging to say the least, but it's a lot of treatment, a lot of rehabilitation, a lot of not doing what you used to be doing, which is life. Just living, just eating, being social, having food, being around people, having drinks.
Right.
It changes 100%.
So for those who are unaware, look, I spoke about the fact that my brother-in-law is 2 doors down from Eddie. Eddie and I and Hav, we are at so many of the same family functions all the time. So I wasn't step by step with Eddie through this process, but I do remember one event, you've got the feeding tube, then the next one that we're at, you were going through the therapy of learning how to swallow again. Yeah. I remember you talking about, I'm doing therapy. I'm learning how to swallow. It's something that obviously, if you've never had to do it, you just take it for granted because it's something we just do.
Exactly.
It's like breathing air. And if you had to learn how to breathe all over again, it would be an achievement, or struggle, I should say.
Oh.
So, yeah. Okay.
So just going through different tests, blood work, everything. As the end of the year of 2022 approaches, I'm getting ready to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm getting ready to go back to work, I get a PET scan. And the PET scan reveals that I have some type of anomaly close to my thyroid. So my doctor decides to send me to Keck USC Medical now,
right,
which is a great facility. Not saying where I was sent before wasn't great, but here it's just a little bit top notch.
Sure.
So I ended up getting it late in December, and they found I had the anomaly. So my next thing was to get a biopsy. They ended up doing like a 4-inch incision in my throat, and they find that my Thyroid was not the problem, but there was 2 lymph nodes next to it, or a few lymph nodes, I should say, that had the HPV virus again.
Okay.
So now what they said, starting in 2023, that I needed to go back to do some radiation and chemotherapy. So I just got done with that about a month and a half ago,
Mm-hmm.
and saw my doctor yesterday. I did not have any problems with energy last year with the chemotherapy and the radiation. This year, I get exhausted very quickly.
So if you see Eddie fall out of his chair here, don't be alarmed.
Yeah, I'll be
Okay,
fine.
don't be alarmed. We'll give him a moment, and he'll collect
Yeah.
himself, get back in, and we'll get
Exactly.
going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I saw my doctor, same doctor that diagnosed me, he said, you've had quite a bit of radiation and chemotherapy in less than 13 months.
Let me stop you really fast. Okay, so at this point, now we have the lymph nodes here, but the tongue, we're free and clear with the tongue. We're good.
We're good there as of the last PET scan.
Okay, so we're good there. We just now have it in another area.
Correct.
And that's what we're dealing with right now.
Correct.
I know I keep saying we, but I don't mean it like I'm doing it. Okay, I don't mean it like I'm going through it. This isn't my fight here. Okay, one thing I'll say about Eddie, he's and I'm not. I'm getting better at it, of course, with the show. But Eddie's very active on Facebook, and Eddie has shared his journey, this entire process, on Facebook. He talks about his doctor's appointments, his scans, his radiation, is this, that, the other, all the stuff that he's going through. So he's actually been telling his story already through Facebook. But as I said earlier, I think that this is a great forum to share this and get this message out to so many more people. So I'm sorry, but go ahead.
That's all right. What I was going to say back on that is, you keep saying we, but it is we, for the fact that what I've learned from this situation is I'm the one who's going in the tube for the radiation.
Right.
I'm the one who's getting the chemotherapy in my vein. And I'm the one who has to let everybody know who is around me in my circle. For me to see somebody sick is to say, if there was something I could do for you, I would.
Right.
So now I happen to be that person. So my thing is I don't feel, unless I'm tired, I'm just tired. I don't feel like I have the cancer. Everybody who sees me says, wow, what did you do? You look fabulous. I'm like, well, yeah, cancer will do that to you. But I know that, going back to my mom and Vito and all the elderly people around, I don't mean elderly bad way. I mean just a little bit older than I.
Hey, look, that's right. They are older than us.
They're going through things, and when they look at me,
right,
I don't want them to see somebody who is, he has cancer. No, I want to be able to show that I am still able and capable of, within my means, to do things such as coming here to see Ben. And the one thing I want to see if I can get it correctly, in this chemo fog that I get into, I start thinking of something and it kind of leaves my mind a little bit. So when you see somebody sick and you wish you can do something for them, if they see me and I don't look sick, they go, how's your cancer? I'm like, we'll find out in January when I get the next PET scan, but they don't see a person that has cancer.
Yeah.
So I know that when you say we, when you look at me, you're like, he's doing okay. He's not doing that bad,
Well,
because it is a we. We're all in it together.
Yeah. Well, physically, yes. Physically, you look great. I mean, in the last 2 years, probably because of the cancer, you dropped a lot of weight. So you're really,
it's that feeding tube.
Yeah. You're pretty close to your fighting weight right now.
Yeah, I'm at
so you look great, but yeah. So I think that's what can throw people off. Oh, I thought this guy had cancer, but he looks good. Well, how did you want him to look?
Yeah.
How do you want him to be laying on the floor all balled up somewhere, or in a bed someplace? I will say this, that your battle with this is truly something to be admired, because you've never let this get in your way of living your life on your terms.
Yeah.
You do all the things that you want to do aside from cigar smoking and drinking. So you had to give up your cocktails and you had to give up your cigars. But you live your life on your terms. You were out and about all over the place. You're driving to Vegas all the time, there and back. You drive up to Central California quite a bit. You're living the same life as anyone else would be living, with or without cancer. So I think that probably throws people for a loop a little bit, and they see, he must be cured. He must not have cancer. Blah, 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 blah. I thought Eddie was sick. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I put myself around people who know what my battles are. So I have a dear cousin, Rita, in Vegas. I go stay with her. She's retired. And it's just a place to go back and heal, to be in a place other than my own stomping grounds.
Yeah.
It's a nice mental break. Nothing like driving with music, man. I know the music is big for you. So
the music is big.
Music is a healing source, bro. That's for sure. Without music, I mean, when I was at my lowest, I would put my pods in my ear.
Mm-hmm.
I just play music, man. And the funny thing is, I know we talked about me being choir.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's one thing that I've never shared with anybody, but I can no longer sing. I sing I'm an alto now. I'm no longer a tenor.
Right.
And you can hear my voice get higher, cracky. And it is a challenge to push my voice out. So the one thing that I've lost is it's actually more of every day we grow up, man. Every day we learn something.
Yeah.
Now, I know you've never done this, but if you could, you would be like, wow, I sing in my head now when I drive. I don't, you see the guy driving down the street, the girl singing, laughing, rocking out.
Sure.
Now it's in my head, and it's a completely different, like, comforting feeling.
Okay.
It's weird. I can't explain half the stuff I'm going through. And I know it's because, first of all, it's me and I'm not that articulate, but it'll come back around. That's where, that's one thing I do miss is singing, because go along with my voice, I'm a salesperson.
Yes.
I don't know if I would buy from somebody like me, quite honestly. I'm not sure about that, but the music is huge, man. The music is a healing force.
Yes, no, absolutely. And I guess the one, if there has to be one silver lining about singing in your head, is you always have perfect pitch.
Never wrong. Never ever wrong.
You are never off. Never one bum note.
Absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. Yeah.
I know. So then, but you're right. To get back to me, music is music's powerful.
Oh man.
And I have said many times on this program here that we all like what we like, and we may like different genres, but when it's something that you enjoy and it hits you right here, it just gets you right in the chest. And there's nothing better than that. And it can take you away from everything that's going on in your world.
There you go.
And you just, if you're driving, you certainly don't want to close your eyes. But if you're not, you can just close your eyes and get lost in it. Absolutely.
I think you have articulated it the way that I feel it. That's exactly what it is. It takes me away from what I'm doing. And it just puts me in a different spot. You're right. That's what it is.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think that's just from an early age. That's how music affected me. Just, man, boom, hit me right there. And then you go out and you seek out everything else to find that same feeling. And you go out and you start seeking out and searching. And it really can do a lot for you.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the outlook?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
For the fact that the base of the tongue cancer that I had last year.
Yeah.
All my doctors, and I have a specialist now at USC, an ortholaryngeologist who specifically
A what?
Ortholaryngeologist, if I
Okay.
said it right, specifically, it's a vocal cord doctor.
Yeah.
And he's with the vocal cord. So my right vocal cord has been paralyzed, which they diagnosed as vocal cord palsy.
Okay.
And that gives me the voice that I have. So we have to wait for the next PET scan, which will be in January.
Yeah.
And that'll be somewhat 90 days after my last treatment for the radiation and chemo. We want to be sure that there is nothing else moved. And they do the PET scan from like the knees on up. They shoot you with the sugar isotope. That sugar directly attaches itself to cancer cells. So when you look at this scan that comes on, we've all seen scans, we've all seen x-rays, we've all seen everything like that.
Right.
This just looks like in your body an outside skeleton, and then it looks like a yellow highlighter where the cancer cells are shown up. And then that's where they start wanting to do biopsies, this, that, and the other. So when I had it on my thyroid, that's what they saw. They saw it right off the side. They were so unsure that I had it. We did 2 PET scans because they're like, how could you have it after we, did the radiation and chemotherapy the first time? We don't understand that. Well, my luck is I have it again. So I'm like one of the few that keep going on. So whatever my challenges are, got a great supporting staff, you included, my family. You're like a brother to me, bro. You know that. So I'm not worried about what my outcome is going to be as much as I just want to know that when I left and was diagnosed, I was 100% at age 58. Okay. It wasn't much, but it was 100%.
Yeah.
When I come back at 60 or whatever it is, my age, and I'm either going to be where I'm at, I'm not going to be at 100% of my age at 58. I'm going to have to be 100% of whatever I am there. So that's where I want to get to. I want to see where my strengths and weaknesses will be when I'm completely diagnosed. Right now, you don't have cancer. Again, most people, cancer, 5 years remission. I'll have 5 years after that to make sure it doesn't come back.
Right.
So it's not a long road, but it's a road that I want to get on and start moving.
Well, so this scan that's coming up in January, that's the one that if it comes out clean, then that's like when the clock starts to tick.
That would be when the clock starts to tick.
And we can say, okay, if we stay cancer-free for 5 years, we're probably pretty good moving forward, right? Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Cool. So being shot up with sugar, now I guess you can really use that to your advantage with the ladies. I'm so sweet, ladies, cut me open and the sugar just pours out, right?
Well, I'm shy, man. I'm super shy. I don't get out there like that.
Yeah, you're so shy.
Yeah. That's a fact.
Please don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Like he said, he's a salesman. Okay. Yeah. Well, then obviously, from me to you, I'm certainly you are in my prayers, and I will be praying for the absolute best outlook come scan time. I just, I want you to know that. And so hey, we may have an update. You never know, folks. Okay. Just because you're on the show once doesn't mean you can't come back a second time.
That's right.
So it's been a tough 20 months then.
It's been a challenge. I know that everybody who knows me would ever look at me and say, God, he's having a rough time at it. No, and you just got to have that mental state of, it is what it is. I can always go home. One person told me a long time ago, a good girlfriend of mine said, you never let them see you cry. You cry in your own shower. You don't cry in anybody else's shower. So when you're out and about, you're spring fresh. You're ready to go. You walk in a room, you let them know you walked in, because when you leave, they want to ask you. People want to know, like, where did that person go? The energy's no longer here.
So it's funny. You're the one fighting cancer, and yet you feel like you still have to be the rock of your family.
I don't know about the rock of my family, but I don't want to be the weak person in my family. Um, if I needed something, I know I could call 10 people
Yeah.
easily, and all
Yeah.
10 would show up.
Yeah.
But because I probably used a few of those in my younger life, I don't have very. No, I'm just kidding. You just don't. I don't want to be needy. Like,
I understand that.
I still do all of my cooking, my cleaning, my laundry, my anything that I do, I do. Anything else I can do, I'll do. Richard Luna.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring him up, so go ahead.
Okay, good.
Go ahead.
So he has a challenge with his kidney. He needs a kidney transplant.
Right.
And we all look at certain people to say, that's who I want to emulate. This guy goes to dialysis 4 times a week.
Right. Once
a month, we have a little reunion gathering for Whittier High School. We just started this.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I was supposed to lead him into this, okay? But that's not how, man, he's just getting right into it. So go ahead. Continue with what is it's going on right now. And bring Richard back into the picture too. Of course.
So what we do is we just get together, we put it out on Facebook. Whoever wants to show up, any class of Whittier High School just shows up. And it's at a place called Orchard Barbecue and Grill in Whittier.
Yep.
Owned by an alumnus.
Yep.
Troy and Debbie Silva.
Yeah.
And they are gracious enough. They'll always have us there.
They're great people.
One time a week. Oh, excuse me. One time a month. Excuse me. Keep on fog again. And who shows up, shows up. And we had, last month, we had a good 22 people show up from a lot of different classes.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised. We sit down and talk. Getting back to Richard. Richard, I don't know what dialysis could be, but I see how sometimes it really affects him before he goes. Once he's done, he's great. So he goes dialysis on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays.
Okay.
On the day that we have our get together, I'm not going to call it a reunion because it's not.
Right.
It's an alumni thing that we do.
It's a hang,
shows up.
That's right. That's right.
So this guy goes and he does dialysis on Friday, wipes him out, gets up at like 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday so we can be there by 12.
Yeah.
And to see him walk in, what do I have to complain about?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. We get our strengths from other people. Like I think he's a flipping warrior.
He's fighting it, that's for sure.
So, and a lot of people who see him don't know what he goes through. Unless they know. And I'm like, well,
yeah. If
Richard's like 20 minutes late, me and Richard grew up since we were in the sandbox together, so I can say anything about him to his face, or I'll say it to his face.
Or on air.
Yeah. It's like, hey, don't worry about it. Richard had dialysis today. He's coming in. I didn't know he was sick.
Right.
It's like, how did you not know he was sick? Well, I guess people just don't know. But there's some people who come up to me and say, well, and I've been motivated by a lot of people. The strength that I get is from my family and friends. And if you're a friend, you're family.
Yeah.
It's, you'd ask, what's the outcome? I'm not sure what the outcome is going to be because we all have an expiration date.
True.
So
true.
Do we have 20 years? Do we have 30 years? Do we have 10 years? You know what it is, Ben? You live every day the way it's supposed to be lived.
Okay.
I'm not going to get religious, but the man upstairs already knows our playbook. All we got to do is show up and run the play.
Listen, I've never shared it on the show, but I'm a Christian.
Amen.
And I'm a church-going guy. And in fact, I was at Bible study before we started this. I came home from Bible study and
got
going on.
I lost one sideways.
No, so it's okay. It's fine. There's yes, obviously, God knows when our time has come. That's for sure. But how do you feel about that, though?
I've learned again. Every day, there's a lot of things we want to do and don't do.
Yeah.
So for me, I want to do as many things as I possibly can do. I know that I do a lot of photography.
Yes.
So I do a lot of what I call, I guess, simple word is give back. I've shot high school football when my nephew was playing,
Mm-hmm.
and there's about 53 guys on the team, at least 50.
Yeah.
I'd go to every game, take pictures on a Friday night. Monday, I would have all the team's pictures ready to go. In other words, I would put in an envelope everybody's picture, whether I had one shot, no shot, or 10 shots of you, hand them to the team on Monday. And then the kids who are like, well, how come I only got one picture? I'm like, well, because you're holding your helmet. You got to get in the game. Little motivation there. I'm not taking a picture with you sitting on your helmet. So
Well, some of those are good shots.
not that bad shot.
Especially if you're sitting on your helmet and you look like you've been in the game and you've been beat up a little bit. Then yeah, it's a good shot.
So I've done high school football, wrestling. I was brought in by a nice coach there of Whittier, water polo. And leading into my nephew as a senior.
Yeah.
Who started as a freshman left tackle at 6'3", 280. He quits his senior year while I'm going through what I'm going through. And if you don't know that I'm a big football supporter, fan, and all this, then you got to know I am. So when he mentioned it to me, I'm like, cancer's not going to kill me. This information you're giving me is killing me.
Yeah.
So I asked him, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to play tennis. Okay, well, love tennis now. Love tennis now.
Not so much before. But
had no clue.
Yeah. Right.
Now, getting back to my nephew, only child.
Yeah.
I'm going to say two uncles, one father, but the two uncles are very active in what he does. So,
oh yes.
With that said, as a father, you have to lead a certain way. As an uncle, you don't have to lead that certain way. In other words, I can get him in trouble and I can get him out of trouble.
Okay.
I'm the uncle.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do that. Bob is supposed to do that. So when he picked up the tennis racket, he's actually a 2nd degree Taekwondo black belt, registered, all ball of wax. He's legit. And if you know anything about him, he's walking in the house all day long with his weapons, playing around, goofing around, because he's the only kid, right?
Right.
So when he picked up the racket for tennis, coach like, it's going to be tough for you to make the team because we have so many people coming out and we're only going to take so many people. Well, he ended up you have first team single, you have 1, 2, and 3 for singles. Then you have 1, 2, and 3 teams for doubles. He made the second team for doubles.
Okay.
So he wasn't the worst. He wasn't the best. He was right in the middle, which is not bad. So now he's playing tennis. And now I'm taking pictures of tennis, which from 53 guys, now I'm going down to 9.
Right.
Which I'm like saying, you know what? You guys are easy to do. I love you guys because I don't have to worry about attitudes or egos or why didn't I get a picture? And it wasn't about all that. It was just about being on the field and being active. But,
sure.
So you know the story. The kids at the high school, they go and they end up with a record of like 16, 2-1. And they win the CIF Division 5 championship.
Yes.
And I have a picture of me and my nephew while we're holding the plaque. And he reaches over my ears. He's looking and he smiles as I'm looking up to him. And he's like, now what do you think? Am I a tennis player? Those weren't the words he used, but those were what he came about. So my photography allowed me, we talk about how I get through this. I do stay busy. As you can see, talking is not my strongest suit at this time. We're going to work on that. We're going to get it right.
Yeah.
But the photography, from that to my niece who plays at Biola University, she's on tennis, or excuse me, she's a water polo player there. I shot them last year. LeVon Barton, a good friend of ours, went to high school with. His daughter just finished a very, very good season for Concordia University girls soccer. I shot that. Some Division I football when my nephew was at San Diego State. I was able not to be on the field, mind you, there, but take pictures from there.
Right.
And it's something that when you take pictures, you end up with like 1,400 shots if you're doing a game in football. Then you bring it down to like the best 100. Like that music thing in your head, it takes you away. That's what takes me away for at least 5-6 hours.
Okay. And
the best pleasure it is when you hand a picture to a kid and they're like, wow. It always comes up at the very first time. How much do we owe you? Parents or kids? I'm like, you owe me nothing. This is my school. This is what I do.
Yeah.
I'm not a professional, so you can't get mad if it's a bad
so, so it doesn't look great.
You can't get mad if I'm not on time and bringing them back. But the one thing I always thank them is, you give me reason to wake up, like to do something. I
Okay.
look forward. And of course, just like you starting this out, you want to practice your craft and get better. So with me, I think I get better every time I'm doing something. Although nowadays, with the radiation that I've had 37 radiations
Yeah.
and 16 chemos in less than 13 months. And my last doses that I had were doubled. Last year were single,
Mhm.
taken out for a longer period of time. This one was just supercharged. They're like, we're going to knock it out, kick it out.
I remember you saying that.
So as you see, I'm wearing long sleeves. And if anybody knows me, do I like the sun and do I like to stay tan?
Yes. Yes and yes.
So
And Eddie is always wearing shorts. Rain or shine, Eddie's wearing shorts.
Yeah,
so yes,
that's a fact.
does Eddie like to be outdoors?
Love
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Love it. If it's by the pool and we have to look at some, I don't know what we have to look at, but if we have to, we'll.
We're not FCC regulated, so
Okay.
you can say whatever you want to say. It's
But
okay.
the pool's always nice anyways, or the beach. So the sun
Yeah.
has radiation in it, and it really takes it out of me. My doctor this time around, he says you can't be in the sun too much because it zaps you. It's like
Okay.
before when you're in the sun, the vitamin D makes you feel good.
Right.
This one actually like draws the energy out of you now, so I have to be careful with that. So my photography stuff that I'm doing, I make sure that now I got UV sleeves. I wear pants as much as I don't want to, and
Put a hat on.
I can't wear a hat. Can't wear a hat with the camera. And I'm not going to put it on backwards because I'm not that guy, bro.
No. I'm
I
sorry.
still have hair, so I want to let everybody see it.
Well, ball caps are meant to be worn a certain way.
Right.
Gangsters wear them this way, and everybody else wears them this way. Yeah, no. So we're from the same.
I think we got off track there a little bit. I'm sorry.
No, we didn't get out. No, we didn't get off track at all.
But I love doing that.
I told you this was. I told you this is a conversation between two guys, two friends, and that's all it is. And wherever it goes is wherever it goes. I have my notes, and like I said, I would interject a question or a comment where I felt that it was necessary, and or where I felt I had a chance, an opportunity. Because the one thing you've done to this point is you've spoken very well, and you've told the story really well. I haven't had to draw anything out of you at all.
Okay.
And that's the salesman in you too.
Well,
but you and I are very similar in this.
About sand and have a conversation, bro.
I think we like the sound of our own voice. Now, you may not like the sound of yours as much as you used to, but we still like to hear ourselves talk.
Yeah.
So,
that's a fact.
Yeah. So I didn't need to help you in this. But getting back to the, we'll call it the Whittier High School monthly luncheon. How's that?
There you
go. I think that's a better way of phrasing. Yeah, it's not a reunion. I mean, for crying out loud, come on. Tell me about the origin of that. How did that come about? And
very simply put,
yeah,
Richard and I are not in the best of health.
Yeah.
And our 40th reunion was coming about.
Yep.
And we all wanted to go to it. I'm not part of the reunion committee. Love all those people. But it was difficult for us to find out where it was at and where it was going to be. So we knew a lot of people were coming from out of town. So what we decided to do a month early was we just show people up. People showed up, put on social media, hey, we're going to have a little gathering at this place called Orchard.
Yeah.
So it started from that, simply as that, because we wanted to see as many people as we could, being as under the weather, let's call it, and see as many people as we could. So the next month when they had the 40th reunion, it just so happened on that day, it rained like Southern California hadn't seen rain before.
Yeah, I remember. It was
lightning and thunder. We had
tough.
ours during the afternoon. They had theirs in the evenings. When I say that, the ones we didn't get to go to. Understand they had a wonderful time.
The quote unquote official 40th reunion. Yeah, but it was outdoors though, was it not? I think it was because they were working.
Did we say it rained too?
Yeah, we did say it rained and it was outdoors.
Yeah. So what we've done for that, I'm going to get off that subject right off the bat.
That's fine.
What we've done with that is our little group of people that we've gotten together. We've had football coaches from high school.
Yeah.
We've had tennis, wrestling, track. We've had the mayor.
I was just going to say the mayor has even stopped by.
The mayor is an alumni.
Yeah.
We've had a councilman from Whittier. We've had the boys tennis team, obviously, because they're CIF champions. And it's so good to be at there because Troy is such a kind-hearted, and Debbie, they give.
They're so into the community.
Absolutely.
Okay, now let me stop you because you said it twice, and I want to, and trust me, being Cardinals like we are, we're really proud of this. That our varsity tennis team won CIF that year because it's the first CIF championship in any sport since the 60s. Yes, right, the 60s. I mean, when they had real football players like, the Beeler brothers and Bob Chandler and, guys like that.
The real people.
Right. Not that Eddie wasn't a real football player because, of course, he was. But, yeah. So, I mean, it's something that we're proud of.
You go to those things and you're part of that group.
I do. I don't get to every single one of them, but I get to the ones I can because I remember telling you, don't do it on this day. And sure enough, the next post, it's on that day,
Yeah.
But yeah. And it's always a good group. There are the regulars.
Yeah.
There's usually about 5 or 6 that are, you can count on them being there.
There's Jerry LaPointe. There's Sergio Casada, Bob Ashdown. Those are all from our class.
Jim Winters.
Class of 80 is Daniel Graham.
Yeah, and actually, he's been there a couple of times, and he lives in Texas.
Yeah, he comes out here.
He comes out here for work.
Month, it seems like
he comes out here for work,
of course, the girls who show up, which Chemo Fog, sorry, not prepared for the girls, but you know who you are, and we love you for showing up.
Yeah, it's always a pretty good group. Sometimes larger than others. Oh, Craig Dodge is a regular. He's there every week or every month. So yeah, it is. It's and it's a good. Everybody gets together for 2-3 hours, and they have a little bit of lunch, a soda or two, a beer or two, and just hang out. And it's not people reliving their glory days. It's just people just chit-chatting about life.
I think it's actually, when it comes to alumnus, we talk about certain things about the school.
Yeah.
Specifically about sports.
We
tried to see what we can do. When we were dealing with the football team, Adrian Punderson graduated with me.
Mm-hmm.
He found out that the school was in dire need of some equipment, jerseys, help financially. He was able to put together a decent sized sum of money, and we had challenges with where to deposit that money. And enough said about that. We were able to get the jerseys, the other stuff we couldn't get. But it's things of that nature that there is no president, there is no guy, there's nothing. We just all get together. Nobody is a higher power than the other. And we say, hey, what do you think about this?
Right.
Last year, like I said, we had all these certain people there who showed up just because they're Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
And last year we had a very successful toy drive that we put together.
Right. Right.
Went to our local church that we supported. Just silly things that we put this year. There was a trick and trunk at Orchards.
Yep.
And everybody who showed up seemed to bring about 2 different bags of candy for the kids. It's just a kind of like a give back. Like I said, that's a give back thing. When I say give back, I think give back for me means that you expect nothing in return. It's because no matter what you give,
absolutely,
you give. The example again being that when we had the luncheon for the boys, there was some alumnus who donated $20. Some alumnus donated $50 for them to eat. And it was like, we're covered. We had it all covered, and people were looking in the. These are just the local people. They didn't have nothing. If somebody would have told me a year before, hey, you're going to give some money to the tennis program. Yeah, you know what I was going to say.
Yeah.
But that's a different story because I love tennis now.
And now you watch everything tennis on television now, right?
Exactly.
You're into it.
Right next to the Raiders. Got to get that in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate that our team is as bad as they are, but I don't know. Maybe things are looking up with the coaching change. I don't know.
It's going to work out, man.
Hope so.
Yeah, for sure.
Gosh, it's been a long spell, hasn't it?
Sure
Oh
has.
gosh, it's been forever. But yeah, if you couldn't tell by that right there, we are both diehard Raider fans. So yeah, I think it's just really neat, the alumni, the luncheon once a month, how you expect something like that might fizzle out or taper off, and instead it's just gotten bigger.
Yeah,
it's gotten bigger, and bigger, and people mark it on their calendar. They look forward to it. They plan around it, and it's just it's neat to see just that small community of Cardinals come together.
It's non-threatening, man. You don't have to.
Oh no, not
you don't dress up for this. You don't buy anything. You don't pay.
Well,
for
I do, but
yeah, but who keeps up with your style, bro? You're a style within yourself.
Yeah, I know. Look at my style, please,
man. It's like you go there.
Yeah,
don't know who you're going to see. You might guess who you might see, but there's always going to be somebody that shows up.
Sure.
And the best thing about it is we go from 12 until the last one leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And at 12 to 1, someone has to leave. Someone else shows up.
Well, I remember it was the last one I was at, because see, we're in
November.
Yeah, we're in November now. Hang on, folks. You can't see it, but I can. There's something on my screen here. Let me get rid of it. There we go. All right. So, yeah, the last one that I attended, that was in September, and Catherine had a 40th reunion that evening, and we showed up, and I remember we were the last ones there. You were long gone. We were the last ones there. Mondo Verdugo and Don Ayala was there, and I mean, and just, I think they were trying to get Catherine drunk, because I think they were all taking a shining to Catherine that afternoon, because they kept buying her beer after beer. She was like, "Enough is enough, enough." But yeah, so we closed down the place, and I think we stayed till like 4:30.
4:30, yeah.
I think Troy took off for a little while, and I think Troy came back because probably the employees called and said, "Hey, boss, we can't get these folks to leave."
No.
Then they finally had to ask us nicely to
back it up.
That's it.
Yeah, last dishes.
Yeah, make room for the real customers.
Exactly.
But so this year you have got the Toys for Tots again, correct?
We are set. Yeah, we're going to do it on the 16th, which is not this Saturday, but the following.
Yeah, something like that.
And we're trying to lock it up with the Whittier Police Department. We put boxes out there. Richard Luna works for a boxing company, so he has these really nice custom boxes made.
Oh, okay.
We just make sure that, it's again, we're not giving millions or thousands of dollars, but the one kid or the one person who gets something that they weren't going to get,
yeah,
why not? We're able to offer that little, and a little bit sometimes just makes a difference and goes a long ways.
Well, the thing is too, this is not a charity organization, where there's a quote unquote nonprofit and all that kind of thing. And then behind the scenes, you find out that most of the money and stuff that you're giving goes to, the administration and other costs, and very little goes to the actual charity.
Yeah.
This stuff, whatever it might be, whatever little bit of money, or in this case, toys for the kids, it's in and it's out, and it goes exactly where it's supposed to go. 100%.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, good on you for
us, everybody part of it. It's not you.
Well,
the rest of us, man, everybody.
Good on you for doing that, though. And caring as much about your community, your alumni, and the like. It's, I don't know, to me it's quite noble.
Yeah. Well, We're Cardinals.
We are forever.
A long life from those good people that came through up before us.
That's one thing that they can never take away from us is we're Cardinals. We are
110%, bro.
Yeah. And yeah, and that's the one thing we do. We bleed that WHS Cardinal red. So do you have any special guests lined up for Toys for Tots?
We understand that there might be a special guest coming up. Flying in from the north.
Okay.
Santa Claus might make an appearance. So
all right.
At least we're praying that he does.
All right, we'll cross our
Safe
fingers.
Travels.
We'll cross our fingers and hope that the fat man in the red suit will show up. Say hello to everyone. You know what? Last thing, because we talked about this, what was it? I don't know, a week ago. I think it was last week. We were speaking on the phone. You're doing some work with former LA County Sheriff Villanueva.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, going through Debbie and Troy.
Right.
My picture taking.
Mm-hmm.
I was asked if I would go to some functions that he has partaked in and do some photos for him. Again, the first thing is I'm not a professional, so I don't get paid, which means that if I don't feel well, I won't go, or if I leave early because I don't feel well, I can leave, and I don't have any contractual obligations of staying there. But in the most case, I do make the ones that I'm invited to.
Right.
Take some pictures just for his PR stuff, give them back to Debbie. Debbie uploads them. So Alex Villanueva is now running for superintendent of LA County.
Is it a board of supervisor position?
If I said it wrong, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
board
okay.
I said, but
I think it's the superintendent.
My bad. Sorry.
It's a chemofog.
It totally.
So board of supervisors position. Okay. All right.
Board of supervisors position.
All right.
So
all right.
He has until 2024 for the election, and
maybe we'll get him on the program then.
I hope so.
And he can speak about his platform or whatever. He can present his case to anybody who may be a voter in the LA County area.
For sure.
But well, maybe we'll work on that. So you do a lot of his.
I've done some. I can't say we've done a lot because I just started with them with the holidays for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I think they're going to start gearing up again and making appearances.
Gotcha.
And I hope I can do as many as I can for him, because I believe in his platform. I'm not a politician.
Right. No, he's just a salesman.
Well, that's true. But when he speaks, he makes sense to me of some causes that I knew of. But again, I'm not 110% involved in politics. But
right.
For me, it's another opportunity of taking another giving back.
Yeah. And it's a different type of photography too, because when you're shooting a tennis match, you're shooting a football game, water polo match, whatever it is, that's sports, that's action.
Yeah.
And this is completely different too. So I'm sure that
it's indoors too. So it's not outdoors. I'm not in the sun.
Yeah. Sports,
you have to stay in front of the plate.
Right.
In high school, there was a gentleman that was before me who was quote the photographer. And I saw some of his work and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, but I don't want to see the back of somebody's number. I want to see the front and see their face.
Yeah.
So you have to be in front of the play, right? So with this here, it's very simple. As he's speaking, he's talking. I'm very candid. I don't post people. It's just scoot and shoot.
Right.
Take 800, 900 pictures for a 3-hour thing and then just get the best 120 or 50, the best or whatever. Hand them over. Debbie does what she does with them, make some social media. And yeah.
Okay.
So it's very little that I do, but it's something I can stay busy doing.
Right.
And again,
and it's something you enjoy too with the photography.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So that's cool. And right now, as you were telling me last week, since you're not on his payroll, hey, he can't complain if he doesn't like the pictures. He can't complain to you if you show up late. He can't complain to you if you happen to cancel at the last minute, whatever it might be. So,
well, it's like I said, it's a give back
until he puts you on payroll.
Well, hopefully I get back to what I love doing, which is selling.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this voice, but we'll get better with the voice.
Yeah.
Follow up with that once with the ortholaryngeologist in USC Keck.
Ortholaryngeologist. Did I get that right?
I think that's correct.
Okay, I don't know. I'm trying.
So it's either surgically going to be repaired,
Yeah.
or through some Juvederm that they go and shoot needles in my vocal cord to thicken it up. We've done that once right before my diagnosis with the second lymph node cancer that I had this year. I don't know if it worked or not.
Okay.
But as you can hear my voice, and you knew my voice before.
It was a lot worse a year ago at this time.
Some people say that. I
mean,
can't remember.
It almost sounded like you were straining to talk, and it was not much above a whisper.
Yeah.
So yeah, so your voice is stronger.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Now Juvederm, isn't that Botox?
Exactly. So it's Botox.
So you're gonna have a very young looking neck, right? 60-year-old face and a 30-year-old neckline, right?
Kill me, brother. No, man, it's gonna thicken up the vocal.
Oh, okay. All
Do.
right.
It doesn't go exterior; it stays interior. How do you know about that Botox?
I see it on television.
Okay.
You see it on television. No, I don't want any part of that.
Good deal.
So anyway, I appreciate you so much for you doing this.
No, it's a pleasure, man.
Appreciate you being here. I love you like a brother.
No, you are my brother, bro. You know that. You're part of the family. I'm part of the,
Yeah.
Seeing your kids grow up, seeing you, seeing everything, being part of the whole thing.
That is true.
It's a blessing to have people.
That is true. And doing some
of the circles.
Doing some of the dumb things that we've done in the past.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't talk about those.
No. That's another show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I so appreciate you doing this. And for you out there, that's going to wrap it. I'll remind you once again that this program is available on multiple podcast outlets, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Just search the name, the Ben Maynard Program, and you'll have plenty of options to listen. If you take it in on YouTube, just please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and give me a thumbs up too. Please give me a thumbs up. And, come on, Eddie's worth the comment, please. All right.
You know which ones you're going to get.
Right. So last but not least, follow me on Instagram, simply Ben Maynard Program. Again, like I said, that's a wrap. Thanks for being here. This is the Ben Maynard Program. Tell a friend.